There's a productivity myth that refuses to die. It goes something like this. Sleep is for people who haven't optimized their schedule. The most successful people sleep 5 hours. You can train yourself to need less. Discipline beats biology. Every part of that is wrong. And the reason so many intelligent people believe it anyway is one of the most interesting things sleep science has discovered: the debt you don't feel. In the late 1990s, sleep researcher David Dingers at the University of Pennsylvania ran a landmark study. He took a group of healthy adults and restricted their sleep to 6 hours a night for 2 weeks, which is, incidentally, what a large proportion of working adults actually get. Every few days he tested their cognitive performance, reaction time, decision-making, memory, sustained attention. The results were stark. After 2 weeks of 6-hour nights, participants were performing at the equivalent of someone who had been awake for 24 hours straight. Legally drunk, in cognitive terms. But here's the finding that matters most. When participants were asked to rate how sleepy they felt, their subjective sense of tiredness leveled off after a few days and stayed flat. They reported feeling only mildly tired. Meanwhile, their objective performance kept declining. They felt fine. They were not fine. And they had no way of knowing the difference. Sleep deprivation impairs the very faculties you would use to notice that you're impaired. Your brain running on insufficient sleep is not equipped to accurately assess how much your brain is suffering from insufficient sleep. The gauge is broken, and the broken gauge tells you the gauge is fine. What's actually happening? Sleep is not passive downtime. It is one of the most metabolically active and neurologically critical states your brain enters. During deep sleep, the brain activates what researchers have recently termed the glymphatic system, a kind of biological waste clearance mechanism. Cerebrospinal fluid pulses through channels between brain cells, flushing out metabolic byproducts that accumulate during waking hours. Among the substances cleared is amyloid beta, a protein strongly associated with Alzheimer's disease. When you chronically cut sleep short, this clearance process is repeatedly interrupted. The waste accumulates. Researchers now believe that chronic sleep restriction over years is one of the significant contributing factors to neurodegenerative risk, not because of any single night of short sleep, but because of the compounding effect of a glymphatic system that never gets to finish the job. Beyond the glymphatic system, sleep is when the brain consolidates memories, transferring information from short-term to long-term storage, strengthening neural connections formed during the day, and processing emotional experiences. Cut sleep, and the day's learning is only partially encoded. The meeting, the conversation, the skill you are developing, they are stored less completely, less durably, less accessibly than they would have been with adequate sleep. The myth of the short sleeper. You've probably heard someone claim, or claimed yourself, that they can function perfectly well on 5 or 6 hours. This belief is extraordinarily common. Research suggests it is accurate for approximately 2% of the population, who carry a rare genetic mutation that genuinely allows them to function normally on significantly less sleep. For everyone else, the belief that they are fine on short sleep is itself a symptom of sleep deprivation impairing their self-assessment. The executives and athletes who appear to thrive on 5 hours are subject to what statisticians call survivorship bias. You hear about the ones who seem to be managing because they are visible. You don't hear about the far larger number of people whose career performance, decision-making quality, or long-term health quietly degraded on the same sleep schedule. Short sleep is not a competitive advantage that some people have figured out. It is a liability that some people haven't noticed yet. What the research says you actually need, the scientific consensus, endorsed by every major sleep and neurological health body, is that adults need between 7 and 9 hours of sleep per night for optimal cognitive and physical function. Not as a soft recommendation, as a biological requirement in the same category as food and water. Below 7 hours, measurable cognitive impairment begins. Below 6, the trajectory of decline is steep. And because the impairment affects self-perception, the people most damaged by short sleep are often the most confident that they're managing fine. The practical implications are significant. If you routinely sleep 6 hours or less and feel like you're performing well, you almost certainly aren't performing as well as you would on 7 or 8. You just can't tell, because the tool you'd use to measure the difference is the thing that's impaired. One reframe worth keeping, reframing sleep as laziness or indulgence, is one of the more costly errors in modern productivity culture. The evidence now treats sleep as performance infrastructure, not the recovery from the day's work, but the mechanism by which the day's work is encoded, integrated, and made available for tomorrow. The most productive thing many people could do for their cognitive output is not another hour of work. It's an extra hour of sleep. The hour that feels like sacrifice is the hour that pays the most compound interest. The most dangerous thing about sleep deprivation is not that it affects you. It's that it prevents you from knowing how much it affects you. Which means the people most in need of this information are the people most likely to dismiss it. Subscribe if this landed, because next time we're looking at why your brain constructs a different version of every memory you have, and why the past you remember almost certainly didn't happen the way you think it did. See you then.